Hi there, Glenys Trinder here, and this is the second video in a three-part series on how I work the law of attraction and what I do to see what I want turning up. Okay, if you haven't watched video one, this is a really good time to stop this and go back and watch that, because this will mean very little, if any, sense to you. So go back and watch that, because that's all about my 5-step formula that I use to manifest everything. And this one I'm going to talk about how, if you get stuck with that, if you've done every one of those steps and you're stuck, you just don't see what you want turning up, or you're really stuck in the same pattern. Now, what really happens, people mostly get stuck in the third step, which is the limiting beliefs, clearing the limiting beliefs. Because if you're not seeing what you want turning up, or if you're stuck in something that you can't get rid of, it's because you have a belief that's keeping you there. Some people get stuck in this very first step and they're unable to get very clear. They may be unable to figure out what they really want, because they have for so long been doing what they thought they should do, or maybe fulfilling somebody else's idea of what they should be doing, that they no longer know what they really want to do themselves. The other step that people get stuck on is the visualizing. And with visualizing, if you're not a very visual person, if you can't see vividly or really conjure up an image, I would suggest making a vision board. But everybody can visualize. Some people can see it more clearly. It doesn't really matter. If you know where you parked your car when you park it in a multi-story car park, you can visualize, because you remember and you have that visual of what floor you were on, where roughly your car was parked. So everybody can visualize. Some people use much more detail, but that's not important right now. What's important is to get really clear on it and to visualize it by using a vision board. I'm going to be doing a vision board workshop, and I'm going to online, so I'll talk to you about that at another stage. But for now, before I keep changing the subject, the reason you get stuck not being able to do and manifest from where you are is because of limiting beliefs. And the mind is made up of the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And the conscious mind, the mind that we're using now, I'm speaking, you're listening, hopefully, you might be analysing, drawing conclusions, this is the conscious mind. And that only equates for between 2 and 4% of our mind. The subconscious mind is the other 96 to 98%. It's where everything is stored. Every memory, every sensation, every belief, every sad story, every fright you got, every humiliation, shame, and some of the difficult memories from the past and get really blocked. We just hide them. They were too hard to deal with when we were children, so we have kept those hidden. But the mind stores everything, and it stores it for our benefit. And we can access that. So I'll talk to you about that in a moment, but the other thing the mind does is it does what it thinks you want it to do. So, for instance, it really wants to keep, its biggest role is to keep you safe on the planet. So if you have a huge fear maybe of speaking in public, that could go back to something that happened in childhood, that you may have been saying, I died, I absolutely died. And your mind doesn't want you to do that, doesn't want you to die. So it's going to give you heart palpitations and sweaty palms and make you so frightened that you don't want to do that. Now, there are millions of other reasons it could be, but that's just one example. The other way the mind works is it loves what's familiar, and it is terrified of what's unfamiliar. And this goes right back to tribal times. It would have been dangerous to step outside the tribe, and our minds just love that security of doing the same thing. And that plays out in people's lives. For instance, somebody may be stuck in one. They may never have made money. It may always have been hard. They win the lottery, and that's why such a high proportion of lottery winners lose it, because they're not familiar with keeping it or saving it or using it appropriately. And somebody else may be very familiar with money. They may lose it all, but they will gain it all again because they are familiar with having it and knowing what to do with it. There's lots more instance about that side. There's another really important thing that I see a lot of. People that have been abused as children quite often manifest abusive relationships. Now, the thing with all of this is this can be changed. You know, you can change what's familiar, and you can make something unfamiliar that you don't want, and you can make what you do want familiar in your mind. First of all, you have to do it with your mind. Have I covered everything what the mind says? The next thing, basically what I do is I use rapid transformational therapy or hypnotherapy to go into the mind and to see what's happening and to find those limiting beliefs. And I'm going to talk to you more about that in the next video series. But everything can change. You can change old patterns. You do not have to be stuck in the same pattern forever. There is really, really good news. And it can be very, very easy. You can see sudden shifts when you change an old pattern. We change our phones, we change our computers, we update software all the time. But our lives are being run by a program that's inside here that has been formed since we were very young children. So stay tuned, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.